This is Rosalind Sadaka with Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living. And we are talking to Chana Pfeifer, who's a licensed social worker and therapist. And she is giving us a lot of insight into the human condition during divorce and during the experiences of the aftermath of divorce. And a question that I often get is how people can deal best with the stigma, the shame, the insecurities, doubts, and fears of feeling like a failure and other related emotions of being divorced. What can you tell us about that?
So, unfortunately, feeling like a failure and shame, they're real. It is a public kind of demonstration where people, and there's a box that you have to check when you fill out basic applications. And so really being aware of our feelings around that and our role in our marriage not working out, and rather than pretending that those feelings aren't there, to deal with them. And what were we responsible for in our relationship? And how do we be proactive to manage those feelings differently? And also really choosing to almost have like an invisible armor that if people give you a look, what? Or oh my gosh, I thought that wouldn't happen to you. Certain judgments, be aware of that relationship space and that feeling of being judged. And do we take that on or do we not? And that we can consciously, again, be aware of our reactivity of us feeling like a failure, of us taking on the body language or choosing not to and saying, you know what, it didn't work out. And this is a new chapter. And this is what I'm grateful for. Or not having to give an explanation, but really choosing, do I participate in that energy or am I really comfortable with where I am? And it wasn't what I wanted to happen, but at the same time, you know what, here I am. And so I'm going to try to choose to move forward rather than getting stuck in that negativity, which doesn't really serve us. But it is there, and pretending that it's not, it's hard.
I think in addition, we should be monitoring what we're telling ourselves, because a lot of what's behind those feelings of shame and blame and stigma are telling ourselves that we're different, we don't belong, we were a failure in our marriage, or whatever that labeling is. And that we can be very abusive to ourselves, can we not?
Oh my gosh, we are our worst critics. And again, rather than pretending that those messages don't go through our head, being aware, oh, there they are. And how am I choosing to show up differently? What are the positive messages that I want to give myself instead? I am lovable. I am successful. I am making healthy choices. That we choose to be our own, worst critic, and maybe we want to show up differently. Great point.
And can I add another statement, something to the effect of, I'm still a good mother or good father despite the divorce. I continue to be a valuable, positive parent despite the divorce, and reminding ourselves that the divorce does not judge my capability of parenting the children that I love.
Yes, 100%. And when they quote the statistics about children of divorced parents, again, that may be accurate to a certain extent, but we are individuals in this. And how do we choose to show up given the knowledge that it is harder to parent when you have two separate households? And what can we do differently rather than, well, why bother because we're divorced and I ruined everything? Really thinking about how can we help show up as parents, given that we do have two separate households, and looking at the success cases. And I think that's part of what you're trying to do is, what are the success cases? Who does it well? I mean, I had a friend who, when it was not in vogue, really demonstrated co-parenting beautifully, that their divorce was not about, I hate you, you're disgusting. It was really, we are not good for each other. The energy is toxic, and let's parent our child the best that we can without fighting as much as possible, but let's try to be on the same page. That's really what's best for the kid. So, yeah. And it's best for us too.
Absolutely. I so agree. And yes, that is the foundation behind the Child-Centered Divorce Network. Before we let you go, I wanted to make sure you could tell people. Which is
beautiful.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure you could tell people how to find you and your services.
I have offices. I'm located in New York. I'm in Cedarhurst and West Hempstead, Long Island. I have a website, thehappierme.com. I'm doing telehealth sessions now, which is something I've never done before, but I assist in workshops workshops. I was going to do a workshop in a local coffee shop. I'm very grateful for what I do.
And we are grateful for what you do as well. And you are listed on the Child-Centered Divorce Directory of experts, because I am so impressed with the quality of the service you are offering.